Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make Mrs. Puff's house from the show Spongebob Squarepants. If you do enjoy this tutorial, if you like this sort of stuff, please do remember to subscribe to the channel and click the little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my stuff sent directly to your sub box. But without any further ado, let's get building. So, just before we start building, everybody, here are all of the materials that we will be using throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all those materials and enough of them as well. I will point out that the flowers that you will need, you're just going to want to grab all different types and colours, kind of in a random fashion. So don't just grab one particular kind of flower. Unless you want to, I'd recommend grabbing a nice little bunch. The amount of space required to make the house is a 21 by 23 block area, as represented by this little white concrete grid on the ground. Feel free to make this grid in your world if you do feel as though it will help you out. And that's it. Pause the video if you have to. Make sure you got all that stuff. Make sure you got enough room to make it. Make sure you're ready. And once you are, we can begin. Step 1, SpongeBob enthusiasts. Come all the way over to the front left-hand corner of your grid, if you've made it. Count to the right of this corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then inwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to start this off by placing ourselves a yellow concrete on the ground. Behind the yellow concrete, we are going to place a magenta concrete. I want you to extend the magenta to the right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, it's best if you're looking down like this. You want to extend back, right, and then back by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You then want to extend left, up, and then left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then down, left, down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally, right, down, right. And you will end up with this circular shape right here, which hopefully was quite easy to put together. We're going to extend all of the magenta concretes upwards by 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's quite a lot of magenta concretes to add. This is going to form the outer shape of the actual build. So, funnily enough, Mrs. Puff's house is actually similar to quite a few other houses. Bikini Bottom kind of has like a standard house that you can make. I've actually made it before. It may even be on my other channel, where it's kind of like a lot of circular sort of like tin cans. They kind of almost look like car exhausts. Mrs. Puff's is actually just a variation of that, except it's in, honestly, some lovely colours. There's nothing wrong with the magenta and the yellow colour combination, and it also has a little bit of extra flair to it. So it's kind of funny to see when I actually did a little bit of research into this, because I couldn't remember off the top of my head what Mrs. Puff's house actually did look like in my head. It's funny to see how it is pretty much like everybody else's, except like it's just got a lot more flair to it, really. So we're adding all of the magenta. We are almost done with all of the walls here. Oh, I should also point out as well, notice how I've missed off the corner blocks. You don't have to do the inward corners for the actual shape. That was just really just to help us place the initial build. So really all you have to do is just like this, really. So what are we going to be doing next? Well, we have to grab our yellow concrete, and we have to place yellow concretes in specific positions along the top of the build. We place them on the left and right sides and the middle of every single one of the long sides. So on every single one of the long sides, there's 4 long sides, each 5 blocks. You place a yellow concrete on the left, the right, and the middle parts. In between those, you place magenta. So that is going to create kind of this almost kind of like sort of teeth effect. I don't know what else to really describe it as. To which we then want to pretty much just fill the entire top of the building using yellow concrete itself. So we'll fill the entire top of the building. It's basically got like a nice trim around the top of the build. That's what we're kind of adding. It kind of almost reminds me of kind of like a cake. weirdly enough. Kind of like, you know, when you put icing on a cake and it kind of like drips around in different places and it's not even all the way around. That's sort of what this reminds me of, and that's kind of what we've got going on. Also, it kind of sort of like hair or like a helmet or something. But regardless, that's all what we want to have for the top of the build. And we also want to have kind of like a chimney as well. So the chimney's quite easy to make. You come to the top back left hand side here and you're looking for like this left block of the smooth part of the build, so like this part here. And you kind of want to move inwards diagonally, place a magenta, down to, take the middle block, left, right, and then add probably about one or two rows of magenta, depending on how tall you want this to be. I think I'm going to add 2 rows on top, and then you want to top it off with a magenta, with a layer of yellow. So it wants to be pronounced, like you want to be able to see it from the ground, kind of like this. So yeah, that's pretty much tall enough, I would say. On the left side of the build, we have something somewhat similar. You actually want to find the middle yellow concrete on this side of the build here, the one that kind of just pokes down. You want to drop down 1, place a yellow, drop down 2 more, 1, 2. You want to take the middle block, extend it left and right to create a plus shape. You want to add magenta concrete onto the outside of the plus. You want to add yellow concrete onto the outside of the plus. You want to take the middle block and you want to place magenta. You want to extend it up by 3. 1, 2, 3. You stick a yellow concrete on top. What we then want to do, and it's a little bit weird, we kind of want to extend the magenta concrete like outwards in every single direction. So kind of following the shape that we have kind of like just down below. We kind of want to have something that should look like this, right? Do we also want to... You could even connect it at the bottom like that as well if you wanted to. Then you just want to kind of extend the yellow concretes like all the way on top, and that's the sort of effect that we're looking for right there. That's not looking too bad at all. So now that we have done that, ladies and gentlemen, we now want to put a bit of work into the front of the build, because that will allow us to place the next part, which is, it's like another sticky out part, kind of like that, but not quite as big. So we're going to focus on the yellow concrete that we placed at the start. I know, seems like an eternity ago. We're going to take this yellow concrete and extend upwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to extend inwards 1. We're going to place an upper right diagonal yellow, bottom right diagonal, right 1, and then down. So this is kind of a door frame. The door frame, we then want to, on top of the left side here, extending right, we want to place a white wall, red wall. A white wall would go here, but we're keeping it yellow. And then we would have a red, white. We extend all of these blocks upwards. Remember, this would be a white wall, and we extend them all upwards, but we also extend those same blocks forwards as well. So the only reason that I like seeing the door frame here, like if that was white, I don't think that I'd like it. I think I prefer that to be yellow. So yeah, there's kind of like a canopy extending from Mrs. Puff's house. What we also want to do is add a yellow concrete right in the very middle of the door in the center. We want to place birch fence on every single, like, above, below, left, right, with a birch button. That's basically one of those doors that you twist the handle, like you guys know what it is. It's like a safe vault almost. That it's kind of like one of those doors, and that's best represented by, hopefully, what we've just done there. So, what we now want to do is we want to add a window. There's a window right in the middle of Mrs. Puff's house on the front. So, we come to the middle of the canopy, we extend upwards, and we leave a gap of 1 here. So, magenta block, destroy, 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 destroy. We want to create a plus shape. So, middle, here, we find the middle, leave a gap, and then destroy 3 up. And then, like, left and right as well through the middle. We want to place yellow concretes all the way around the outside with a blue stained glass pane right in the center. And that is basically what we want to have for the front of the house. So the reason that we wanted the window is just so that we can quite easily trace where we have to place like the final like chimney sort of thing. We take the bottom of the window, which is this yellow concrete here, and we follow it around to the right side of the build. Right here, we want to find the middle of the build. So the middle of the build on the right side coinciding with where the lower block of the window is. So, would be right here. We want to place a yellow concrete sticking out of the build, down to, take the middle, left, right, like that. We're then going to add 2 layers of magenta, extending outwards from that, 2 whole layers, like so. And then we are going to extend the outer layer here. We're going to extend the top up by 1. That's about as high as the magenta goes. And we're just also going to extend the blocks like left and right of it as well. We also want to take the middle of this and we kind of want to extend it out, and we want to form like a plus shape. And we'll do the same here on the opposite side. So we kind of want to extend the plus shape kind of like above and around. It's kind of hard to do in Minecraft. We then want to add a layer of yellow concrete on the top of it, and the end result should be like this. It's kind of like a fancy cactus. It's something that you might find in like a Japanese RPG. This would probably be a mid-range level monster, I think. It would award some nice XP, you'd probably drop some gold. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is exactly what you want to have though. We also want to create a path. So that's the house done, by the way. That's the house done. But there's a little bit of garden, which kind of makes the house look a little bit nicer. We're going to use stone, and we're going to create a stone path that leads the 3 middle blocks of the entrance, the ones that are spanned by the birch door, the birch fence. We want to basically just have like a nice stone path. Oddly enough, by the way, we want to create the stone path like this, leading all the way to the boundary. We're going to place 2 rows of light grey carpet just in front of the doorway. I think it's supposed to be some sort of like doormat or some such. I'm not quite sure what it is exactly. So now that we've done the main pathway that will lead you from the edge of the house all the way to the actual house, we are going to add a little bit of fence. So the fence is actually made out of block of quartz slabs, and birch fence. So what you can actually do is at the end of the path, you can place a block of quartz on the left and right sides of the path. You want to then place in sequence birch fence, block of quartz, birch fence, block of quartz, so on and so forth, all the way around the edge of our build. So it's all the way around the edge of the grid like this. What I find it easier to do personally, and it will save you a nice little bit of carpal tunnel in the old fingers or perhaps a repetitive strain injury, is if you place all of one material, so all of the quartz, and then swap over to the birch fence afterwards. I find that works best for me. So basically just go like clockwise or anti-clockwise, whatever you want to do, and then reverse. Just like this. And it's just going to be birch fence in between all of the block of quartz. In actuality, it's not really kind of like a birch colour. It would more so be kind of like a white. So you could use end rods. That would look a bit weird. You could just join it together using quartz slabs. That's perfectly fine. But it's much more of a picket fence sort of deal. I'm also placing quartz slabs on top of the quartz blocks just because I sort of like the effect of it. It looks a little bit more like the actual fence. If the birch came in, or if there was perhaps a more white fence, then we would use that. But we don't have that, so we can't use that. But yeah, this is what the fence will look like. And what we also have to do a couple more things as well, actually. So there we go. Perfect. So that is the fence taken care of all the way around the build. That actually, you know, there is a big fence. What else do we have to do? There's a few key features to the garden. We need ferns, we're going to use green carpet, and there's a big tree sort of thing, which will require stripped oak wood, which is material I don't think I've ever used before, and red concrete. So there are specifically 3 ferns on the right side. It's not actually a fern, by the way, it's kind of like some sort of kelp or something. But there's large plants on the right side of Mrs. Puff's garden, and they pretty much run up the right side. We're going to leave a gap of 1 between the fence, and we'll place 1 towards the front of the garden, 1 towards the centre of the garden, and 1 towards the back of the garden. Like that. Perfect. We're going to pepper the area a little bit with green carpet, just to make it look a little bit better. I think that it breaks up the monotony of the green grass a little bit. And we'll do the same on the opposite side here as well. We won't be placing any ferns, because what is on the back left-hand corner of the garden here is a tree. The best colour match is kind of like stripped oak wood. It's, again, some sort of like weird kelp or coral tree. I don't know exactly what. Anyway, so we're starting in the back left-hand corner. We're 1 row away from the fence all the way around, and we're going to place 1, 2, 3 stripped oak logs on top of each other. We might even make that 4. We'll make that 4. We'll extend the top to the left by 1, and then we'll take the top, we'll take the block just 1 away from the top, and we'll extend it right, and we might even extend another one. So this is kind of the frame of it. It is a specific shape, and then we just kind of want to place a little bit of red concrete on the upper left side here, just kind of like this, kind of just like draping off it, maybe even one there. And we also want to place a little bit of red kind of like draping off this right side too. So again, it doesn't have to be too crazy, just something that sort of shape with that particular color will look pretty good. And that's most of the garden actually complete, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in my laziness, I did grab bone meal for this, but it's not really suitable now that I think about it. There's colourful flowers leading up the left and right sides of the path. Colourful flowers. However you want to have these, that is completely up to you. I am lazy, so I'm just grabbing all of these, and I'm basically just going to, in succession, I'm grabbing all, well, my bad, I'm grabbing all of these, and I'm basically just going to, maybe I'll reverse it on this side, and I'm basically just going to place, in order, the flowers that I was able to pick, just like that. And that's pretty much it. Like, if you wanted to, you could substitute some of those flowers for carpet because they are a little bit more colourful. And that's pretty much everything. The only thing that you may want to do, depending upon where you're building this, because if you were building this in a Bikini Bottom setting, the actual town itself, as you guys know, or city, whatever it is, also town, I think. Anyway, it would be surrounded by sand, this build. This is an actual garden. It is meant to be green. It is meant to have grass. So if you were building it in an actual Bikini Bottom setting, you wouldn't have to do this because it would stick out anyway. But if you were building in more so of a grassland, you may want to destroy around you know, perhaps around all of the carpet that you've placed and all of the plants and all of that. And you may want to change the grass to lime terracotta to make it stand out. But that completely depends where you're building this. I'm going to dig out all that grass so that it does pop a little bit more because, of course, I'm in a grass world. And I'll show you what it looks like because we are officially done, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice job. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is what Mrs. Puff's house will look like once it has been 100% fully completed. As you can see, the only difference I've pretty much made between now and then is the fact that I have contrasted the grass using some lime terracotta, but that's something that is going to depend on where you do build this. And that's it. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please do remember to like the video. That really helps me out. Subscribe to the channel. Click the little bell next to the subscription button. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you would like to check out the rest of my stuff, I'll leave you a few playlists down below. We make a few varied things, but if that's the first SpongeBob build that you have came across on my channel, oh boy, do you have some fun ahead of you. I have made so many SpongeBob builds that you will be able to make your very own Bikini Bottom just about by the end of the playlist. But there's also some other stuff too from different cartoons and even statues and weird stuff pretty much. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed everything. I hope you enjoy the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you. Goodbye.